Hey everybody, I am on the line right now with Simon Diamond. You know him from his work in ECW. You know him as Pat Kenny from TNA. He's doing some work with the National Wrestling Alliance now, and you can catch him at 80s Wrestling Con's Extreme Virtual Signing this Monday night. He's going to be one of 5 ECW stars on hand, along with Mikey Whipwreck, Shane Douglas, Too Cold Scorpio, and Jerry Lynn. Simon, how you doing today?
Great, great. How are you?
Not too bad. Getting an early start on Friday. Trying to get everything out of the way. I have to drive to New Jersey for my vaccine, so that should be fun.
Where about New Jersey? I live there.
I don't want to say. I can't remember the town. It's not. It's like. So I'm in like Philadelphia suburbs, and it's like Marlton or Route 38. I forget.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's South Jersey. I'm in like central North Jersey.
Okay. I used to live in Jackson for a little bit, and then I lived in Belmar for a couple of years, so I'm familiar.
Okay.
Trying to think. I can't
So
remember.
are you an Eagles fan?
No. That's a good thing for you, right?
No, so I grew up in Delaware.
Oh, okay.
So I'm an Eagles fan. So football, and I'm an Eagles fan. But baseball, I'm a Yankees fan. Because when I was a kid, Mike Schmidt didn't sign my autograph, but Reggie Jackson did. So that was the difference for me.
Hey, you got a story behind it. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I don't dislike the Eagles. I just when I was a kid, for whatever reason, I was a Jets fan, and because I was in northern Pennsylvania, and then I smartened up and realized, better get out. Maybe in hindsight, it was a good idea, and now I kind of root for my home team, my hometown team, quote unquote. But I wouldn't call myself a diehard fan, but I'm glad they won the Super Bowl, so. Glad I got to experience that and be here for that. I'm going to start with today before we kind of jump into your career.
Sure.
You mentioned, and this was reported before, but you're doing, I believe it's talent relations for NWA. You're back working in wrestling. Can you just tell us maybe a little bit about what that involves? How you got?
What doesn't it involve? So I went in to be an agent. When was that? December of 2019. So I have a regular job. I work in sanitation for a township, for Woodbridge Township. So I get up very early in the morning, 4 a.m., and we start at 5, and it's we're done early. So that's the benefit of the job. One of the benefits of the job, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I love it, and it allows me to do other things. I also am a real estate agent with Berkshire Hathaway. So I had gone in. I had vacation time, and it just matched up. So I was able to take off a couple of days, go down to Atlanta, help them out, and see what it was all about. And I had seen what they were doing, and it was just like the old studio wrestling that I grew up watching. Georgia Championship Wrestling was my favorite wrestling probably of all time. In my opinion, was also the best booked. And I'm talking about like late 70s, early 80s. So then fast forward, last year around November, I spoke with Billy, and he wanted to expand my role, and we worked it out. I had talked to other groups prior. So when did I leave TNA or Impact? I guess it was called 2018. I want to say, yeah, I think it was 18. And I had spoken to other groups about coming in an agent role, but it just, number one, I didn't believe in the products, and number two, it wasn't a fit because I had begun this other career that I enjoyed and also gave me security. And I wasn't going to give that up. So Billy and I were able to reach an agreement where, I can still do the other job, but then my focus um, would be talent relations, to work from home, and what does it entail? It entails everything that involves talent. I just, I just spent weeks doing payroll. Luckily my wife is a teacher and she's very, very adept at Google and stuff like that. So she's able to teach me. So, and then I was at the tapings recently in March, and every day's an adventure, every single day, because I don't know what's going to, I'm going to get an email from somebody, and I get tons of emails every day from young wrestlers, middle-aged wrestlers, older wrestlers, everyone looking to come in, and I'm just trying to take the time to vet them and look at them and give them an opportunity, because like I'm trying to run it the way. So I think of all the things that upset me as a performer, and I'm trying to do the opposite. And it's hard. It's very hard, because my first obligation is to the betterment of the group, the NWA, and to Billy as the owner. But then I also have to, be a mediator with talent. And, it's interesting. It definitely applies, my sales skills from real estate and my ability to take order and direction in sanitation. So now I can combine the two, and I think it helps.
There was a lot of great attention on NWA when Power came about. Like there was attention before that with the pay-per-views and the Crockett Cup and the 70th anniversary, but Power really, emphasized how different of a show this was going to be. You mentioned, kind of some of the influences of the territories that the current show took from, but they had a year off. Like, it was COVID. There was some other issues. Dave Lagana left. Power's back in name, but there is, and Nick is still there. Nick's still the champion, but why should fans be excited, and how are you guys looking to go after a new audience besides just increasing your digital footprint on Fight?
So if you turn on wrestling on Monday night or Tuesday night or Wednesday night, you will see what I call a glitz and glimmer show. Big production, the values, and stuff like that. An old school throwback program emanating from a studio with what I would call a more physical style of wrestling, highlighting, instead of two guys standing in the ring across from each other arguing, there's a guy at a podium telling everybody who he is, or there's a woman at a podium telling everybody who she is. That was what old school wrestling was about. It was a character-driven industry where the focus was on the wrestling and the characters. So that's what we're trying to bring back. We're trying to bring back that. As soon as you turn the show on, you look at it and you go, okay, this is different, because it's from a studio. No one else is doing that. Everyone else is running. Well, they're not, with COVID now, it's different. But, in the grand scheme of things, everyone's running the big arenas with the pyro and the big entrances and everything. And we're scaling it down to a simplistic version of professional wrestling, just like they used to do. That's the difference.
Yeah, it's bringing back characters, and it's also allowing people to talk. Like, I look at a couple go ahead.
It's so recently. So I'm not the biggest Bill Maher fan in the world. Him and Mitch McConnell, I would probably try to cross the street and headbutt them, because I don't like. They're both on different ends of the political spectrum, and to me, they're both very opinionated, and I don't know. Anyway, Bill Maher recently spoke about the Oscars and what's missing from Hollywood today, and that today Hollywood isn't about making a movie to escape from the reality of your life. It's about making a movie that talks about an issue that makes the people in Hollywood feel good about themselves. And whatever happened to escapism, whatever happened to, you know, watching something and losing that, the reality of your own life and escaping into it. Like recently, I just saw Kong versus Godzilla. Well, that's not going to win any Academy Awards, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very simple to understand, and at the end, they teamed up to defeat the villain. And as simplistic as that sounds, it is so needed in today's society because we have become so critical. We have become so overbearingly opinionated, and I have a saying: the simplistic simplicity of simple. And I think in the wrestling world, that can work. That old school vibe that you just talked about and that I've talked about, it can work because it's simple and it's easy to understand.
Yeah. And some of the names you're going to be seeing doing that, I'm excited for two in particular, the Pope and Trevor Murdoch. I feel like they came and I was excited to see them get another shot, and then everything got shut down. And now, that you guys are back up and going, like this is really a chance for them to show what they can do. Paro just got, a nice segment on Power Surge. So, there's a lot to look forward to. If you guys want to check out what NWA is doing, you can subscribe on Fight TV. I can't say enough about how big of a boost they've given pro wrestling in the past few years. But go check them out on Fight TV. Now I wanted to, you're appearing as Simon Diamond for your signing, the Extreme signing. What
I got to get the robe out of the closet. We just moved, and I got to find the robe or one of the robes.
There you go.
My wife just said it's in the closet downstairs. Thank you.
So, all right. So you're going to be in gimmick. Fans have a lot to look forward to. What do you kind of like, because you have three distinct time periods, I'm going to say, where you're doing work with the NWA now. We'll get into your TNA stuff a little bit, but ECW was this thing where it was really your first exposure to a national audience. You teamed with Johnny Swinger for a while. What was that experience like? Like, what do you look back on now and kind of remember the most?
I'd say like it was just the experience of it, because at the time it was a cutting edge product. We had a lot of characters in there, and what I mean, characters in front of the camera and characters behind the camera. So it was an adventure. Every day was an adventure in ECW. You never knew what was going to happen. Like literally, you didn't know what was going to happen because, of the amount of characters. That made work very fun. Sometimes it didn't make it as fun, but I miss a lot of those guys. I miss seeing a lot of those guys, and that you worked with every day. The other great thing about it it was a great learning experience. I was at the time, well, I wasn't young, but I was, it was my first break, and working with guys who are better than you, the Jerry Lynn's, the Mikeys, the Tajiris, guys like that on a daily basis automatically makes you better. And that's the thing about wrestling, when you go from the independents or the the performance center, and then you get called up or you make it to that next level, you're working guys. You're no longer the big fish in the little pond. Now you're working guys you're equal or better every night, and you get better, and then you learn. More importantly, you learn how to work a specific style geared towards television. which is completely different than working that style on the independents or in a performance center, training center, school.
Mm-hmm. If you had to pick one, because I know it was kind of towards the beginning of your career, do you have a match in particular that you would say best highlights your work at that period?
Probably the tag team tournament finals. Just because I remember so vividly going up to the top rope. It was us against Dreamer and Jerry Lynn, and it was a three-way, and Mikey and Tajiri, and then we eliminated Dreamer and Jerry Lynn. So now it's me and Swinger versus Mikey for all the marbles, and I go up to the top rope. We're going to finish Mikey off, and I just remember looking to the right. I looked to the right and pointed up to the last row, and I just remember everybody started to stand up because they knew something was about to happen that was probably going to be the finality of the match. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget that. And it was like the most awesome feeling in the world that you are in control of these people's emotions. And that's the beauty of the business. And that is the one thing that really stands out to me. Mm-hmm. The one match.
You guys also worked together a little bit in, I guess it was the Asylum days of TNA, but you started working under Irish Pat Kenny and for a little bit time, the Empire Saints. So what was the decision there? Like, why weren't you Simon Diamond?
That was not my decision. I can't remember whose decision that was. They just kind of threw it at me, and I was like, all right, I think in part, some of that was Vince Russo's, and he's Italian and I'm Irish, and we being from the Vince is a New York guy, a friend of mine, and he understands ethnicity. I understand ethnicity, because we live in it. If you live in the Northeast Corridor and someone says, "What are you?" You don't say you're an American. You tell you what is your ethnicity. You're Irish. You're Italian. Mm-hmm. You're Polish. Because it's so diverse. Indian, Puerto Rican, Dominican, white, black. I mean, the diversity in the Northeast is ginormous. Mm-hmm. So I think his vision of relating this ethnicity didn't catch on with people in the South or the Midwest as much as it would catch on if you're doing it solely in the Northeast. And I thought that was the issue, is why it didn't catch on. But I was like, sure, yeah, well, whatever. It wasn't that long, but then the Empire Saint thing that I tried to do was a takeoff of the Boondock Saints, because I was like, all right, well, Irish Pat Kenny, boy, that's just flat. It's just flat. There's nothing there, And I'll never get my mother saying, do they really need to call you Irish? Can't they figure out you're Irish by your last name? I was like, well, Mom, it's wrestling. But anyway, so I saw the movie The Boondock Saints. I was like, this is pretty cool. These guys are vigilantes, but they're going to church. So I tried to steer it in that direction, but I don't think the powers that be at that time, if I remember correctly, Vince had left, and I don't think the powers that be at that time understood
the direction they were trying to take it.
Yeah, I don't think it was understood.
I mean, I appreciate the references. That movie's great. It's not hitting you over the head that it's Irish. There's elements of what makes I get, you brought up the Catholicism, that's part of
it's part of it.
Yeah. So I don't know.
As was the drinking. It was part of it, but it's not something that they bash over your head where it becomes the stereotype. It's just a part of it. And I think that was the great thing about the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Similar question, but if I had to put you on the spot, do you have a match or moment from your TNA run that kind of resonates with you?
Oh, when our run with AMW, Swinger and I came in and we did the thing with AMW for boy, that was a while. It was like several months, and we won the belts, and um, someone, who was it? I can't remember, but someone was talking. I remember one day somebody had one of the issues of the sheets, and they came up to me, and I was talking with Chris Harris, and I can't remember who this was, but anyway, they said, "You guys realize that if they booked this thing correctly, you guys would have been the feud of the year." And I thought to myself, you know what? He's right. If we had, because it started, um, like I remember, Jeremy Borash had a um, column when TNA first started, and his column was, at the end of his column, he said, I implore anyone to offer up a tag team better than AMW. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, wow, that's a great lead in for an angle. What if one night Swinger and I just hopped over the guardrail and Borash was in the ring and said, "Hey, Jeremy, I read your column and here's our answer," and we're off and running. And I think we did. I think I gave that idea to them after we start. Like, we came in the first night, we lost, and then we wrestled a couple more times, but I remember we did that angle like 3 or 4 shows in, and it was a little convoluted at that time, but I just that run with AMW was great. I loved it, and we had some really good matches with those guys, and then of course winning the belts. So, but that was definitely the highlight.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate your match picks. Looking forward to what you're gonna be doing. Putting your efforts into the NWA. This Monday, you can check out Simon Diamond with the robe that we confirmed. We still have the robe. You can check him out.
Now watch, I'll forget it on Monday.
You can check him out as part of the lineup of the Extreme Wrestling virtual signing Monday, April 19th from 7 to 10. More information at 80swrestlingcon.com. Thanks very much for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.